How are you doing, C peeps? My name is Divesh Thakker and welcome to our channel Learn Competitive Programming with CodeChef. Now, hey, if you haven't hit the subscribe button until now, do subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon to stay tuned with us. Let's get started. So today, first of all, we would look at the problem statement. Next, we would look at the corner cases for this problem, and finally, we would write the code by ourselves. Hey, hold on, I have a special offer for you. You want to master data structures and algorithms, and do you want to be the king of competitive programming? Do check out the live sessions from our best educators, and for your subscription, I have a special referral code for you, by which using that you would get a 10% discount on your subscription. So do check this out, and let's get started with our problem. Okay, so now let us look at the problem statement. Here we have a cricket game which has n overs and we have k bowlers in our game. Number 1 through k. Okay, so I have n overs in a cricket match, and in my match I have k bowlers who can bowl. Now a bowler can bowl a maximum of l overs in my game. We need to find a valid assignment of bowlers to overs where no bowler is assigned 2 consecutive overs. Okay, so we have played cricket, right? Many a times we have watched cricket, and we know that no bowler can bowl 2 consecutive overs, right? So that is the constraint which we have been given. What we need to do is we need to assign a bowler specific over. He can take many number of overs as he wishes to, but each bowler cannot exceed L number of overs. Okay, so that is given to us. Here each over must be assigned to a bowler, which means one bowler will bowl 1 over. That is, now let's continue. A bowler does not need to reach the limit of overs, which means, say for example, I have a bowler X. Now that bowler can bowl any number of overs. You can also assign him 0 number of overs. It is possible. But any bowler or that bowler X should not exceed L, which is the limit of the overs each bowler can bowl in our n overs match. Okay, now if no valid assignment is possible, we need to output -1. Okay, so it is possible that we cannot have or we cannot form an assignment with the given values of n, k and l. In that scenario, we would be printing a -1 as our answer. Let's take an example over here. Let's say the value of n is 3. Okay, the value of n is 3. I have been given 2 bowlers, and the limit as to number of bowlers, the maximum number of bowlers each bowler out of these 2 can bowl is 2, say for example. Okay, first of all, can you form a valid assignment of bowlers to overs? Yes, it is possible. Why? Because in this match I have 3 overs. I have 2 bowlers, so let's say I am assigning the first over to the first bowler. Now the second over cannot be bowled by bowler 1 because that will be 2 consecutive. So I have bowler 2 who is bowling the second over. Now I can assign bowler 1 over here because the limit is 2. So this is one possibility. Now you may say, okay, hey, we have another possibility, right? Say for example, the second bowler bowls the first over, and this would be our assignment, right? So in this case, there are multiple valid answers which we can print. But now let us look at when our answer will be a -1, in which we cannot form any valid assignment in this problem. Okay, so now let us look at the condition where we would be printing -1 as our answer. Here if you see, let's take an example. Let's say the value of n is 10, which means I have 10 overs over here. The value of k is 2, which means I have 2 bowlers. Let's say I have bowler 1, which is yellow. Let's say the bowler 2, which is wearing blue. So I have 2 bowlers over here, and I have L as 4, which means each bowler can bowl 4 overs. Okay, so I have bowler 1 who can bowl a maximum of 4 overs. I have bowler 2 who can also bowl a maximum of 4 overs. Let's start with the assignment. Let's say I am placing bowler 2, I am assigning bowler 2 as my first over. Now, since bowler 2 cannot bowl the second over because that would be consecutive, I will assign bowler 1 as the second over. Again, since bowler 1 can bowl the third over, bowler 2 bowls the third over. Similarly, bowler 1 will bowl the fourth over. This would continue. Bowler 2 bowls the fifth over. Bowler 1 bowls the sixth over. Bowler 2 bowls the seventh over. And bowler 1 bowls the eighth over. Now everything is going fine until now. But if you see, now I cannot assign the ninth over to any bowler because both the bowlers or all the bowlers have exhausted the limit of L overs which they can bowl. So this case, if you see, it is impossible to have an arrangement with the given values of n, k and l. Why? Because if you see, k into l is less than n, right? So we cannot assign. So how to deal with this? See, you need to be a witty person. What you would do is, you would calculate k into l. Now k into l is the maximum number of bowlers all the bowlers combined can bowl in my match. If this value of k into l is less than n, then it is impossible for me to complete all the n overs because the given constraints do not satisfy, and that is the reason if k into l is less than n, I would say there is no valid assignment possible as you saw over here, and the answer would be -1. Okay, so the value of k into l is less than n. In that case, we have no possible arrangement. So definitely if the value of k into l is greater than or equal to n, we have multiple valid cases, or at least one, right? So whenever my value of k into l is greater than or equal to n, I would have an answer which exists. Okay, so how would we print the answer? As I've told you, we have multiple possibilities of printing the answer. What we can do, one way is, say for example the value of n is 5. So I have 5 overs. Now the value of k is 3, which means I have 3 types of bowlers, 3 different bowlers, and the value of l is 2, which means each bowler can bowl a maximum of 2 overs. Now, one way we can do is, we assign the first over to the first bowler, we assign the second over to the second bowler, since the first bowler cannot bowl 2 consecutive overs. Similarly, we assign the third over to the third bowler. Now, since the number of bowlers are exhausted, we start from 1 again, and we assign the fourth over to the first bowler. Similarly, we assign the fifth over to the second bowler until we exhaust n, right? So now n is completed, which means it is not necessary that the third bowler bowls his second over. So this is a valid answer, right? We can print out 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 as our answer. Now, as I've told you before, k into l less than n, we should have a print -1, right? But if k into l is greater than or equal to n, the problem is not over yet. Let's say k into l is greater than n or equal to n, but the value of k is 1. Now when the value of k is 1, there are 2 possibilities. One possibility is that n is 1, k is 1, and let l be anything. I've chosen 3. So let's look at the first scenario. Now the value of n is 1, so I have just 1 over to be bowled, and I have 1 bowler which can bowl a maximum of 3 overs. Now you would say, okay, this is not difficult. What I can do is I can assign this bowler which I have this particular over, and now it is done, right? So in this case, when the value of n is equal to 1 and the value of k is also equal to 1, we have a valid assignment. So you would say that, okay, this is possible, right? But say for example, I have a second case where the value of n is greater than 1. Let's say 2 in this case. Okay, so I have n as 2, the value of k is 1 because we are discussing the value of k is 1, and let l be anything. Let's say the value of l is 3. Now we have 2 bowlers, we have 2 overs, right? So definitely I would assign this bowler the first over, but since I have only 1 over, I cannot give the second over to this same bowler because that will violate the constraint which is given in the problem. So this over cannot be bowled by this bowler, and hence I cannot have a valid assignment in this problem, in this scenario when k equal to 1 and n is greater than 1. So I cannot have an answer over here, and I will be printing -1 in this case. Okay, so to sum up this problem, first of all we would be given n, k and l as our inputs. First of all we would check that, okay, if k into l is less than n, then straight away I would be printing -1. I did not evaluate anything further. But if k into l is greater than or equal to n, then I need to check one small case also, which is when k is 1. So if k into l is greater than or equal to n, we move forward and we check one last condition, that if k is 1 and n is greater than 1, if this case is true, then we print -1, else we get our desired answer what we want to print, right? So here we would be printing our answer by using this algorithm, and we would be getting the correct answer. Okay, so now let us write the code to get that AC. So finally, let us look at the code for this problem. First of all, we would take in our 3 inputs, right? N, k and l. So let's take in n. Let's take in k. Let's take in l as our inputs. Now we need to check if k into l is less than n. If it is so, we straight away print -1, right? So we just need to check that, okay, if k into l is less than n, then I need to print a negative 1, right? So let's just print out -1. But else, if this is not true, which means k into L is greater than equal to n, then you need to check for that k equal to 1 condition, right? So I would say that, okay, if this is not true, then I need to check if k equals to 1 and if n is greater than 1. If this is the case, then also we would be printing -1, right? So here again I would print -1. Else, this is the valid case when both these are false. Okay, I have a valid answer. Now let's take a temp variable, right? Let's take a temp variable to be 0 and then let's loop it. So let's say for int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. And now what I need to simply print is plus plus temp, right? I need to assign it to the next bowler. So let's just take plus plus temp space. But what if this value is greater than k? In that case, we need to come back to our first bowler, right? What I mean is, okay, if the value of temp is k, then can you please assign temp to 0 again? So this will bring back temp to 0 once it reaches k, and then we print out plus plus temp, so which will become 1, right? Let's make it print and let's make a new line over here. So guys, this is the code for this problem, bowlers.